Good morning, afternoon or evening, beautiful people, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. If you're new around here, we do drop one of these every single day around 1 p.m. UK time, so make sure you become a subscriber. And I've got to thank my subscribers and my regular viewers, because despite most channels very much suffering at the moment with the lack of interest in the cryptocurrency space, and we'll look at that towards the end of the video via Google Trends, we've continued to grow and accelerate, and that's because of you guys, and I want to say a massive, massive thank you. We truly don't say it enough. But I mean it from the bottom of my heart. But today we've got a hell of a lot of news to cover. Yesterday there was some massive news that came out of JPMorgan. And that is the JPMorgan whose CEO is Jamie Dimon, who's been very hostile towards the space. In fact, even likened Bitcoin to smoking. But yesterday there was an announcement between Chainlink, Ondo, and JPMorgan. And what they've essentially done is figure out a way to interoperate a permissioned blockchain, in this case being Kinexi by JPMorgan. It used to be Onxi. They figured out a way to... and by the way, they've done 1.5 trillion in value, the Kinexi chain, whilst, he's been kind of quite hostile towards the industry. They figured out a way to get their JPMorgan $4 trillion asset managers, essentially blockchain, to interact with the public blockchain sector using Chainlink as a standard protocol and their CRE protocol. And Ondo Finance, which is huge because this is the future and this is the way things are going. And we're actually going to look at the announcement and then look at what Swift has to say about this. Their chief innovation officer actually commented on this because it is just such a big deal and we want to bring it to you. Then we're going to be talking about Project Acacia, which is being conducted with the Royal Bank of Australia and the Digital Finance Cooperative Research Centre. They recently released a paper, or a press release at least, where they're going to be discussing CBDCs, some recent things happening around the world in relation to the progression of all of that, and actually they mention a cryptocurrency being Hedera, which we'll look at briefly, but I'll do a longer video on it later on. Then I want to talk about the crypto space generally. Market's selling off a little bit today. Do not fear, Allincrypto is here. Bitcoin just ran into sort of all-time high resistance, having really retraced a lot of the pullback, which is far more bullish than bearish. Expect resistance acts as resistance. I think you eventually push through it. And I'm still exceptionally bullish on altcoins. Never been a better time to be in the crypto space. Most people don't see that because they focus too much on the kind of ebbs and flows and get fatigued before the sort of real money is unlocked. Let's dive into this announcement. We're excited to announce the successful completion of a cross-chain delivery versus payment, DVP for short, transaction in collaboration with Kinexi by JPMorgan. Yes, the JPMorgan, and Ondo Finance. This milestone marks the first of its kind cross-chain atomic settlement of tokenized assets between Kinexi, digital payments, permissioned blockchain network, and a layer 1 network. Powered end-to-end by Chainlink's runtime environment, CRE, we've looked at CRE previously. The transactions involved the exchange of Ondo's chain's short-term US government treasury fund, OUSG, as the asset leg, with Kinexi's digital payment network serving as the payment leg. Crypto isn't just important for the crypto world and us as crypto investors, it's important for the entire world. What you're going to see is the usage and utility of debt that has already been used to issue money into existence be used once again to enable money and be used as a money. And what does the tens of trillions of dollars that currently sits quite dormant in a portfolio or on a balance sheet, what does the usage and utility of that, once again as a payment, do? It essentially introduces a hell of a lot of liquidity back into the system via kind of a triple accounting rule, or not rule, or method of kind of philosopher stoning the debt that's already been used to issue money as money once again, or use it directly as money. It's going to, I believe, encourage a major economic boom. We're talking about tens of trillions that's going to come back into the markets. We're also talking about crypto unplugging some of the holes that have been sort of plastered over whilst the financial system that we know today has been sort of put together in various kind of a paper mache form. Crypto kind of unites that and gets rid of a lot of the inefficiencies, like the Nostro Vostro accounts that have like $27 trillion in. Well, what do you do with that $27 trillion when you don't need to have it on balance sheets? You can reintroduce that into the markets. So, I mean, this is huge. Certainly what's happening with debt, and we spoke to Graham from Archax about this a long time ago, and we're very much on the same wavelength. My apologies. Since inception, The Connexi platform has exceeded 1.5 trillion in notional value, processing the average of more than 2 billion daily in transaction volumes. Payment transactions have grown by 10x year over year. So rather interesting. The kind of infamous Jamie Dimon's JPMorgan are actively looking to use and utilize the cryptocurrency space. Very interesting. And this is a visual representation, and Chainlink's create a secure off-chain computing environment for coordinating activity across blockchains and existing systems, enabling Connexi digital payments to be seamlessly connected at the application layer with Ondo Chain for the atomic DVP transaction. I think we have done work on Ondo Chain. I think I actually had a Patreon member mention it yesterday. Yeah. So this is what we've been looking at Ondo. We think a full retracement of this wedge. Wedges everywhere. We looked at them. They're all going to come to fruition, in my opinion. But we think a full retracement of this falling wedge that Ondo put in, 1, 2, 3, is very likely. We just released a wedge course on the Patreon, guys. So if you do become a Patreon today, do go and check that out. So this is pretty huge. Swift had something to say about this. This is from the Chief Innovation Officer. Congratulations to the team at Connexi, Ondo Finance, and Chainlink on the groundbreaking achievement in cross-chain delivery versus payments. Looking forward to driving widespread adoption and positioning cross-chain DVP as a scalable, secure solution for global financial ecosystems. A few crucial elements to consider. A universal compliant layer that embeds AML KYC protocols across both permissioned and public blockchains to ensure regulatory consistency and mitigate risk. A cross-chain asset registry that tracks asset provenance. Blockchain is very good at that. Ownership and end-to-end transaction status in a standardized format would provide a single source of truth for all stakeholders. This is what BlackRock's Larry Fink said quite a while ago now. Including regulators and counterparties, a robust settlement assurance framework that leverages smart contracts to verify, reconcile, and finalize transactions across multiple networks would reduce counterparty risk and optimize liquidity flows. The future is on chain, ladies and gentlemen. People, I think, just get a little bit fatigued with the kind of day-to-day price action of the cryptocurrency space, which is fair enough. Let's talk about a pretty huge project that's been undertaken by a central bank, being the Royal or the Reserve Bank of Australia. So Project Acacia, exploring the role of digital money in wholesale tokenized asset markets. Project Acacia is a research project being led by the Reserve Bank of Australia, which is Bank of Australia, or Australia's central bank, and the Digital Finance Cooperative Research Centre to explore how different forms of digital money and associated infrastructure could support the development of a wholesale tokenized asset market in Australia. This is huge. There's multiple participants involved with this. There was an announcement literally, I think, over the past 24 hours. Project Acacia Industry Advisory Group IAG meeting. Talks about what's going to be discussed. And project update. Progress to date. Shortlist networks for pilot WCBDC and number of proposal nominations nominating the networks. So we've got Ethereum. Of course, everyone, for whatever reason, wants to build on Ethereum. I have no idea personally why they would do that. Hedera's private permissioned, which is obviously getting a proposal. Then we've got R3 Corridor and we've got Red Belly public permissioned. So Hedera standing out again. Of course, you've got Rob Allen, I believe, on this. Yes, we do indeed. We spoke to Rob Allen a number of times, very zealous about Hedera. And we did a video just the other day, and Hedera truly is in a pretty amazing spot in terms of capabilities. This project received granting funds from the Australian government through a CRC program. Very interesting. I'm going to do a longer video on that later on today. Let's get off Ondo. The cryptocurrency market pulling back slightly. But really all we've done here, and we'll use a nice big thick line, is just run into resistance. You know, this is where you found resistance previously. It's holding you at it again after a pretty epic move to the upside that we were expecting on the back end of this falling wedge. All these wedges are very much playing out, whether it's Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, Bitwise's top 10 index that we've used as barometers for where the cryptocurrency space is heading. You know, if these are going to do well, slightly the assets that they track are. But I think Bitcoin just ran into a bit of resistance, and I do think it eventually pushes through. And I generally think that we've not seen Bitcoin dominance really come down, and maybe there's a correlation with that in regards to retail interest. you look at where we are, and you might not be able to see this because my head's in the way, retail participation, isn't that higher than where we were really at the kind of lows of the market, if you will, so down here. When we look at Google searches for cryptocurrencies, that will change. There is going to be a tsunami of people that come back into the markets. I think just because of how expensive things are now, crypto really appeals to certainly younger investors because they need to just make that much more money to do things like get on the housing ladder, so on and so forth. I think actually when you look at altcoins, like let's just pick on Hedera, really this has just gone through accumulation, had its first leg. There's many, many more to come, and it's an extremely bright future that we have ahead of us, and public blockchains, not just ones like Kinexi, are going to play a major role in the world that we're moving towards. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. I'm going to love and leave each and every one of you. It's always an absolute pleasure to talk to you and catch up. Big things happening, huge news in regards to JPMorgan. We're going to see more of this to come. This is just the start, but it's a domino that has fallen. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all soon.